Hey there, adventurers. I'm Norolf. Welcome to my role-playing game realm. I previously had done a Boot Hill episode where I had created two Boot Hill characters and had them do a quick shootout. You may recall I have Jake, who actually for both these guys, I actually rolled quite remarkably. Jake has a strength of 16, coordination of 18, observation of 12, stature of 7, and luck of 7. And Sam has a strength of 15, coordination of 19, observation of 11, stature of 7, and luck of 5. So in the shootout, Jake had received a serious wound to the chest, and I thought he was basically done for. But a quick turn of events, it ended up that he shot Sam in the chest as well, but with a mortal wound, and Sam failed his luck roll, so Sam ended up passing away on us. Well, Sam's back. Jake is back as well. So they are now going to do a fist fight. So in the fist fight, assuming that there's no pistols or short range shooting happening, the pistols follow the combat turns versus the shootout turns. And I explained briefly in the previous episode or previous video, combat turns and shootout turns. I'm not going to get into that this time. I'm going to try and keep this relatively short. And really, this is just to provide an example of how a fist fight could potentially play out between these two characters. I won't dive into the rules too much, but I guess we'll see how it goes. So, fist fights, as I said, when there's no guns involved, really follow the combat turn, which basically means it's a slightly longer turn. Typically in a combat turn, when people are shooting each other at range, the two sides will roll for initiative. The side that loses declares what they're doing first, then the side that wins will declare what they're doing. And then the combat ensues with the side that won initiative doing all their shots, and followed by and those shots taking effect, and the side that lost the initiative doing their actions. But in a fist fight, fist fights typically happen during the movement portion of a combat turn. It's really going to be rolling for initiative. The sequencing is that punch or an action within a fist fight is typically a careful shot. In a combat turn, the sides can take two careful shots happen within a combat turn. So, and basically we alternate between whoever won the initiative with their first attack, followed by the person who lost the initiative, and then back and forth. So let's just dive right into it, and we'll start with just some straight brawling. Our two characters will be punching at each other to start with, and then we'll see what happens after that, whether they get into some grappling or some knife fighting. And knife fighting tends to be, again, a little more deadlier than just grappling or punching somebody. We'll see how that goes. Let's start with our initiatives. So Jake gets initiative of 6, and Sam gets initiative of 6. Since they're tied, we're going to re-roll them. So again, Jake gets a 3, and Sam gets a 3. Wow. 2 and 1. All right, so Jake is going first. So Jake is going to take a swing at Sam. Jake, basically with the attacks or with the brawling, you're adding the attacking character is adding their brawling skill and subtracting the defending character's brawling skill. Both these guys have a brawling of 1, so it's a net 0. The only other modifier there is the stronger of the two gets to add 1 to their attack roll. So Jake is stronger, so he is adding 1 to his attack roll. And we're using the brawling table, table 15 and of course we're using 3rd edition Boot Hill rules here. So Jake rolls a 13, which is a 14. 14 is a glancing blow. So what does that do? That gives, I'm assuming both these guys are right-handed. There's a left damage and a right damage. Really, it's primary hand and offhand. If he was left-handed, then he'd be using the right column. Or if you're ambidextrous, whether you're attacking with your left or right hand, you're using the right hand column. So the glancing blow, it does 1 point of damage to Sam, and that's coming off his strength. So Sam's sitting at 14 now. And the effect on the opponent is that Sam has a +1 on his next attack. Or so, yeah, Sam has a +1. The glancing blow basically puts Jake slightly off balance. Ignore the wound severity. That counts for knife fights. And I was looking around and I couldn't figure out what exactly +2 or +1 meant in the right column when it comes to a miss. So anyways, I guess we'll probably ignore it when we get to a miss. So that finishes off Jake's attack. So Sam is punching. And I didn't write that down for Jake, but anyways, we know that. Sam has a +1 on his roll because of Jake being slightly off balance. And Sam rolls a 5, which is blocked. So his punch is blocked. And there's no modifiers or anything for that. So Jake does his second attack here in this first combat turn. He is still adding just 1. And he gets 4, so that's a miss. And Sam does his second attack for the first combat turn with no modifiers this time, and that's a miss as well. We're on to combat turn number 2. Again, we're rolling initiative. Jake gets a 5, and Sam gets a 5 as well. Jake and Sam. Wow, these dice are something. Hey, Sam's going first this time. Sam will take another punch at Jake. So he's no modifiers on his roll. He rolls a 13. He has a glancing blow, which gives Jake a +1 on his attack. So Jake is... Oh, and of course, glancing blow is a 1 point of damage, so Jake is at 15. So Jake is at +2 on his roll because of the +1 and his strength being higher, so he rolls a 3. He misses. And Sam. He will punch as well. No modifiers. He rolls a 10, another glancing blow. Jake has +1 on his next attack. So Jake takes another 1 point. He's now at 14. And the damage, the brawling damage is all subdual. It comes back quicker than actual damage from either a knife or a gunshot. I'm not going to worry about that in this instance, but otherwise I'd be tracking it separately. Both subdual and real damage comes off your strength. So once this total hits 0, he's basically either unconscious or dead. And so Jake swings at Sam, or punches at Sam, and he's got a +2 to his roll. That's going to be a 20. So he has a haymaker. Haymaker, and that is going to do 3 points of damage to Sam. He's at 11. And Sam is on -3 on his next attack roll. So we're on to combat turn number 3. And again, we have Jake with a 3 and Sam with a 2. So Jake is going first this time. Jake is going to take the opportunity to pull a knife. So that's his action. Sam is now punching at Jake with as Jake is flashing a knife around in front of him. So in a knife fight, Sam has to find an opening to be able to actually strike at Jake, and that requires either making a coordination or an observation check, and that's at half of their ability score. So, and that's rounded up. So it's either 19.5, which is a 10, or an observation, which is 11.5, which is a 6. Rounded up, of course. So he's going to do his observation, and he fails. So he has no opening to attack this round. So that -3 basically goes away. And Jake now has a knife. And he's attacking with his knife. He doesn't have any knife skill, so he's not subtracting anything. And Sam doesn't have a knife skill, so he's not adding anything to Jake's roll. And strength doesn't have any effect on the knife attack either. So it's basically a straight attack roll, and he rolls an 18, which is going to be a combination of sorts, which is a wound severity of 0. So basically there's no modifier to the wound roll on the wound table, or wound severity of the wound table. Let's find out where he hits. So he hit. That is going to be, so we're using the wound locations table, the same table that was used for the gunfight. Oops, it's cocked. So he rolls a 20. That's in the head. And the head has a modifier of +1 on his die 6 roll for the amount of damage, or the severity of the wound. And the wound severity for the combination was a 0. So it's just the +1. So 2. That's going to be a light wound. Light wound. So Sam now has a -1. If we look at the accuracy modifier table, each light wound causes a -1 to his roll, and each serious wound is a -4 to his roll. So Sam has a permanent -1 during this combat here. And that was a 2 on the roll for severity, so that is actually 2 damage to him as well. So Sam's down to 9 on his strength. Okay, so Sam swings back at Jake. Actually, Sam says, screw this. I'm going to try and... does he want to pull a knife, or does he want to try grappling? Let's try grappling. So the grappling uses a different table, the table 17 here, the grappling, modified by the same things as the brawling. So it's +1, -1, so net 0. He does have a -1 on his roll because of his light wound. So he's rolling a die 20. And he gets a 20. No, sorry, an 18. He kicks. He kicks Jake. Grapple. Kick. And that kick does 2 points of damage. And the opponent has -1. So Jake has a -1 on his next attack. And there's nothing else there? Nope. Okay, so next combat turn number 4. Again, initiative, we have Jake gets a 6, Sam gets a 3, so Jake is going first. He is... Oh, I forgot to roll for an opening for Sam. Oh well, I'll assume Sam rolled his observation and found an opening. All right, so Jake is using his knife. He has a -1 on his roll because of the kick that he got from Sam in the last round, and he misses with a 1. And Sam is going to say, screw this, I'm pulling my knife out. So it's suddenly become a deadly fight for both of them. That's his action. Jake takes a swing with his knife. Oh, actually, sorry. Jake has to do an observation first because now they're both having they both have knives out. He needs a 9 or less, and he rolled a 6. So he has the opportunity to attack. Now he's actually swinging his knife, and he has a 9 with no modifiers. And the 9 is a glancing blow. And that glancing blow has a -2 on the wound severity. So when we look at, basically determine where it's going to hit. And that's going to be in the 11, which is a abdomen. The abdomen doesn't have any modifiers to the attack, to the severity number, and the glancing blow didn't have any. The glancing blow had a -2 on the severity of the hit. So a 4 becomes a 2, and that's another light wound, which gives Sam another -1 for a total of -2 to his attack rolls. So Sam is attacking with -2. So Sam is looking for an opening to stab Jake, and he does not find an opening. We're on to combat turn number 5. All right, so Jake and Sam. Sam is going first with his -2 to his roll. He's looking for an opening. He does not find one with a 20. And Jake is also looking for an opening. He needs to roll a 9 or less. He rolls a 5, so he succeeds. He rolls an 11, which is another glancing blow. -2 on the severity table. So again, we're rolling for location. It's going to be in the 5, so that's the left arm. And the arm is another -1 on the severity, so it's -3 total. That's going to be a 0, which is still a light wound. Light wound, so Sam is now at -3. He had a light wound here, and I forgot to knock off his. That would have been a damage there as well. So I can't remember if I rolled a 1 or 2. I'm going to assume it was a 2, so it would have been at 7. And this light wound is a 0, so he takes no strength damage. Unless it's a minimum of 1, but I don't recall seeing that anywhere. So he's now at -3 on his rolls. So Sam at -3. He's going to roll for an opening. He does not find an opening. And Jake swings at him. Jake looks for an opening, and he doesn't find one either. So they're basically dancing around. All right, we are on to turn number 6. Initiative, Jake, Sam. Sam goes first. There's -3. Looks for an opening, and he finds one with a 6. And he swings with his knife at -3. So that's a 7. That's going to be a blocked, which has no changes for anybody. So Jake is going to, I don't think Jake has any modifiers at this point. But Jake is looking for an opening. He finds one, swings with his knife, gets a 14. 14 is another glancing blow. And again, that's going to be -2 wound. He hits him in the right leg. And that's going to be a scratch. So -2 off that. It's going to be a -1. So that's just a scratch. And so nothing really happens there. Back to Sam at -3. Sam is looking for an opening and does not find one. And we're back to Jake. Jake needs an opening. He succeeds. So he is attacking with his knife again. That is a 20. That is a haymaker. Well, the equivalent of a haymaker with a knife, so nasty blow. Major cut. That's a +2 wound severity. This could potentially do in Sam. I guess depending on where we hit him. The location is going to be in the 7, which is the right arm. That is going to have a -1 on the roll, as it's the armor leg. And we're adding 2, so +1 to the die 6 roll for the severity. And that's going to be a 5. So 5 is a serious wound. Serious wound, which gives Sam another -4. So he's at -7 now. I think Sam is going to probably call it here pretty quick. Let's do one more combat round, and we'll see where we end off. So Jake and Sam. Sam's going first. -7 on his die roll. He's looking for an opening. He does not find one. Sam is not having luck in this combat. And Jake, who looks for an opening, he doesn't find one either. So they're just kind of dancing around again. And Sam finds an opening, has a -7 to his roll. He's at 2, so that's a miss. I think Sam's going to just surrender at this point. He's like bleeding from 3 different locations. He's got a severe wound to his right arm. He's got a wound to his abdomen. He's got a left arm wound, a right leg wound. He's I think he's turned into a little bit of a pincushion here from the knife fight. But anyways, hopefully that gives you a bit of an idea of how this works. That 5 would have actually taken 5 off of his strength, which he basically left him with 2. Good portion of that is actual damage versus subduing damage. So anyways, hopefully that was informative. I'm going to basically cut it off here. Don't believe I missed anything in the combat rounds, but it's always possible, as I kind of whipped through this, that I did miss either a modifier somewhere or a +1 to a damage. If you look through the brawling example that they give in here, it is a little janky because they haven't actually provided all the details about what's happened with a knife hit. It's like, oh, so and so hits, and oh, by the way, he's doing this type of damage, but they didn't actually define what the rolls were or anything to help showcase kind of the all the modifiers and everything are being applied. So anyways, with that, we're going to wrap it up, and I may or may not come back to Boot Hill at some point in the future, but we'll see where I go next. So thanks for joining me. As usual, please like, subscribe, and hit the little bell icon thingy. And we'll see you next time.